What's good with y'all, man? Appreciate y'all for clicking on the channel. Appreciate y'all for clicking on the video. Subscribe if you're new, man. The goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I can't do that without y'all. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like the video. We want as many people to see this video as possible. I promised y'all I would post another video today, and I'm coming through on that promise. So yesterday I dissected what the Breakfast Club did to Vivek Ramaswamy, who was a Republican presidential candidate for this upcoming election. And here's another Republican presidential candidate that they pretty much did the same method of bullying to in Larry Elder. Now, you would think that they would be a little more nice to this guy because he is black and this is a group that promotes and supports black excellence, but I guess if it's only on one side of the political aisle. So we're going to go ahead and review this video. I think Larry Elder was a little bit more combative than Vivek Ramaswamy was, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's get into this video. Remember to like the video and subscribe. Let's get into it.
And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail.
So as you can see, Larry Elder is trying to articulate the point that he believes a 2-parent household is what is going to help black people get out of the financial and political and economic state that they're in. He believes that it's not systemic racism that's the problem, and that it's the lack of 2-parent households in the black community, which I can 100% wholeheartedly agree with. I think that if you have 2 parents, it's just common sense that you're gonna be more likely to be in a better position. And for some reason, this lady feels like it's necessary for her to interrupt his points, which she does all the time. But I'll go ahead and let you guys take a look at how rudely she interrupts him again.
1996.
Okay, Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word racism since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system.
Okay.
You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly has some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system.
Room for
You said that the
improvement?
system. Well, we're not going to go down that water. We're not going to go down that water hole. Let's get to the question. So the question is, you said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in
Okay.
charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were
The-
Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people are Democrats now.
not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time, the system. I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions.
I didn't ask you that.
And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right. And what I'm asking, was it white people? So I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly. Was it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question, white or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by
White
the
Democrats,
left.
correct? Okay. White Democrats,
most
correct.
black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people
Not
too.
voters. I said who's in charge of the system.
So once again, this lady is displaying her advanced degree in idiocy with a minor in stupidity. Because if you take a look at this, and you'll see later on in the video that she contradicts herself. She's asking, were the white Democrats in charge or were they black Democrats in charge? Essentially is her point. Now, what does in charge mean? Is she talking about some hidden hand that we don't know, or is she referring to people that we can see clearly with our own eyes who are enacting policies that change and influence our lives? Because in that case, yes, we can concede that there were white Democrats in charge at the time who put these policies in, which listen, if you think welfare negatively or positively affected the black community, that's your own business. But the point here that she's trying to make is that it was white Democrats who enacted this, which goes back to white systemic racism, which to me is unfair based on how the conversation goes in a second. And I'll fast forward to that part so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Also, I just want to say very quickly, we do live in a constitutional democracy. So if somebody is elected and that person happens to be Democrat and the overwhelming majority of Democrats happen to be black at the time, you cannot say that it's an unfair system that's enacting these policies on you when you voted these policies in. So guys, in this next scene, we're going to take a look at DJ, envious of Charlemagne the God, try to pose a bogus and idiotic point once again to somebody who knows so much more about politics than he does. And we're going to see him get dismantled yet again. I really think they should fire DJ Envy. I think they should fire this lady right here. And Charlemagne should just claim this show as his own and bring some people on that he thinks are actually going to do good numbers and have honest, open dialogues. But let's take a look at DJ Envy right now.
Right, it's harder for our community to get loans, right? And not just because of poor credit scores, it's because of where the areas are. You talked about the Asian community. A lot of the Asian community have their own banks and they're able to process and get their own banks. There's not too many African-American branches that are able to give out money. So that's one. Then let's talk about getting grants for schools. They're not even giving grants for schools at the rate that they're giving grants for white people. And let's talk about when they talk about entrepreneurship. They are giving so much money to these white and Asian kids and Asian people doing it, and a 1,000 times less than our community. Will you agree to any of that?
No, I don't. I don't agree with virtually any of what you just now said. The turn down rate for a white applicant for a mortgage is higher than the turn down rate for a Japanese or Chinese applicant for a mortgage. Now, are you telling me that banks are discriminating against white and in favor of Asian Americans? It's because their credit scores are better. They often live below their means. They save more, even when they're making the same amount of money than black people do. If you have poor credit score, you're not going to get a loan. Period. End of statement.
So I just want to chime in here really fast and we'll get back to the video, but great point by Larry Elder. He just made an easy black and white blanket statement. If your credit score is not as good as mine, the chance that you're going to get a loan over me is slim to none. It just doesn't make sense. Back to DJ Envy's point, a lot of Asian people have their own banks. Yes, that's true, but why? It's because, like Larry Elder said, they live below their means and they're able to put that money back into our community. Last point before we go back into the video. I'm not a huge Dr. Umar Johnson fan, but there was one thing that he said about the black community that really stuck out to me and made me think. Black people spend more money on entertainment than any other race of people in America. More money on entertainment, more money on fast food and cosmetics. But if you understand the position that we're in, you understand that we really shouldn't be doing that. We should be saving our money so that we can go back and build our banks and build our communities up. I personally live very close to a Chinatown, and that Chinatown does have numerous banks, right? That Chinatown has their own news station. That Chinatown has plenty of their own things that they can use for their community because they lived below their means long enough and they sacrificed for the next generation. Now let's get back into this point, and we're going to get back into the point of how this lady contradicted herself. Remember what she said about the system earlier and how it was white Democrats in charge. Now take a look at when it's black people in charge and look at what she wants to say. The easy cop-out.
All right.
Black people have never been in charge of any system.
Well,
we're not
actually, we have been. Take Baltimore.
No, we've never been in charge of
any
any
finish?
system. Tell me, what financial system are black people in charge of? What healthcare system are black people in charge of? What government system are black people in charge of?
I'm about ready to tell you.
What prison system are black people in charge?
I'm about ready to tell you.
I'm not talking about mayors. I already know that talking point, sir. I go on Fox News all the time as well.
Completely irrelevant to the next point that I'm about to make, but would you ever live with this woman? I mean, she didn't even let him get a single word in after each question that she tried to answer. And it just lets you know that she's not really asking these questions with the intention of getting a legitimate answer back. She's asking these questions to sort of form a gotcha moment. But let's keep watching.
So let's not go there with that. I said, what system have we created?
Goodness.
Have we implemented that we have been in charge of? Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to black women, Larry Elder?
Wow. Baltimore. Freddie Gray a few years ago.
No. That's mayors. I'm not talking. I said system.
I'm
Remember,
going to
you like
tell
the
you
word
about
system.
this system if you allow me to finish my point.
I'm not talking about somebody elected and doing a job, sir. I asked what system did we create? What financial
Okay, let's
system
talk
did we
about the
create?
system of one of the largest.
Let him say his point,
Thank you.
sir.
One of the systems of one of the largest cities in America, Baltimore. Freddie Gray died in police custody a few years ago. The mayor was black. The head of the police department was black. Number two,
It's not in charge of the system, but go ahead.
number two person in charge of the police department was black.
Still not in charge of the
all the
system.
city council, Democrats, majority black.
Still not in charge of the system.
Wow.
That's a position.
6 officers charged, 3 of them were black. A judge before whom 2 of the officers tried their case, found him not guilty, was black.
Still not in charge of the system.
The city intendant of public schools was black. The county superintendent of public schools is black. The attorney general at the time, Loretta Lynch, is black, as was the president of the United States, was black. And yet,
Still not in charge of the system.
who's in
I
charge of
asked
the
you a
system,
simple
Ted?
question, sir.
Well, Wanda Sykes said when Barack Obama got elected, how are you going to complain about the man when you are the man? Now, from the president to the attorney general to the state attorney to the mayor to the head of the police department to the commissions of the schools in the city and in the county to the majority of city council in that city, all of them are black. And you're still saying that we don't run anything?
So who's in charge of the
No,
system,
no,
Ted?
no. I said who created the system. I didn't say we didn't run anything.
So here she is again running from her initial point. She made the argument at first that black people did not have any control or were not in any charge of the system that she's saying exists. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if from the president to the attorney general to the police chief to the number 2 police chief to the entire city council is black, what more can you ask for? Now, clearly, black people don't always have other black people's best interest at heart, which kind of makes her whole argument irrelevant. She's saying that she wants there to be more black faces, but when we had a black face in the White House, black people as a whole didn't really move that much further than where we were before that. And to make the assertion that no matter what your position is, if you're black, you won't have any charge or any say-so in the system is erroneous and it's bogus, and it makes people not want to be involved in government. Which, if you take blacks out of government, you basically get what she's saying we have now, which is a completely white-run government, or at least a government with no black representation and every other race. Now, personally, I don't want that. I like the structure that Baltimore had, but then I question myself and wonder, do I really like that structure if the issue with Freddie Gray still occurred and there was still no justice? It makes you wonder. But we'll go ahead and get into this last clip and I'll go ahead and wrap this video up. But I want you guys to pay attention to what he says next.
I know you probably got to go. But have you ever heard of the term nigga wake up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever
Well,
had
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that. But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about
it.
a nigger wake up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake up call on your part. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a nigger wake up call for you, but it wasn't apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
Yeah, I think both.
I don't know what
parties
you
are
are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say think a certain kind of way, otherwise you quote ain't black. Wow.
How should I have replied to him? You think?
What I just now said. How dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black.
Man, guys. So Larry Elder completely eviscerated the Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, I didn't want to give him that much screen time because it's DJ Envy. Charlemagne got chewed up just now because he tried to be funny and snarky and make a snide remark at Larry Elder, questioning his blackness once again because of his party affiliation. And Larry Elder wasn't having it. He told him exactly what he should have said when Joe Biden rudely disrespected him and millions of black people when he said that ridiculous phrase. I called what Vivek did a masterclass on how to hold your ground and still be respectful. This is a masterclass in matching the energy that you have received, especially when you're trying to have an honest and open conversation and dialogue. They did not give that to this man. And once again, they looked like complete fools. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be posting again tomorrow. Comment what you want to see next. You guys killed it on the engagement last video. Let's do it again. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video. Share the channel. I'm out.